Hello, everyone. I'm Daryl from the MakeCode team, and today we have another Arcade Advanced stream. And with me are...
I can't see it yet. Is it me?
Joey.
Okay, I'm Joey at JWonderl on the MakeCode forum.
I'm Shannon. I'm at Shakao on the MakeCode forum.
And I'm Richard, hitting my cue perfectly at Richard on the MakeCode forum.
Not on the mixer. Oh, there it is.
It's actually not showing up for me. Oh, there we go.
We got it. We got it.
We'll nail it one day. We had a break, so you know we're a little rusty.
Learning curve.
All right, so what do you guys think we should do today? I know we had a little discussion kind of before the stream. Does anyone want to summarize or share thoughts?
Yeah, I can do that. We got a request from a forum user whose name I will not say because we did not get his permission, but he asked us to cover a sprite animations, so for things like walking. And so we were talking about just taking our hero character that we have in the gallery and making all of the animations work. So walking in all four directions, swinging a sword, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that sounds great. All right, so let's start off and make a new project. So, oh geez, what stream are we?
30th.
30th. Oh geez.
I think that's right. Yes, that is correct.
It's always very nerve-wracking spelling things on stream. Okay, so let's start off by just setting up a little bit of a like an area for our character to be in, and the I think we'll do top down because we have a lot of tile sets for that, and yeah, or
so
yeah, sort of Zelda adventure style.
What are you referring to, Daryl?
Sorry, what's that?
When you say top down, what do you mean?
Oh, like the camera angle. It's like imagine you're above the character. Sort of like, let's see, what are examples of this? Like Zelda.
Pokemon.
Zelda, Pokemon, Final Fantasy, lots of them.
Yes, it's as opposed to like side scroller, like a platformer where you're viewing from the side, like Mario or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so I got a little patch of ground here, and then maybe just I'm gonna add some grass because it's sort of more interesting. The different flavors of grass and some flowers. And the tree is one of my favorite tiles, so I'm adding that. Okay.
That's not. It's meant
that,
right?
It's a very short tree.
Wait, we do have a tree. Where's a tree? Or is that a sprite?
A sprite.
It's a sprite because it's not 16 by 16.
All right. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so here's
an aspirational tree.
Yeah. Here's a tile map. I'm going to create our hero. And our hero, first off, I'm going to just pick a static image for our hero, and then we'll get into animation. So here's a character, and as we've done before, I'm going to move around our character with some buttons. And now we can go around. And like we see sometimes in the stream, we need the camera to follow the character. So I'm going to use a search function to find that, say hero. Okay, great. Now we've got a hero that moves around. Yeah, that brush doesn't really fit. Oh, well, so it goes. All right, so let's get into animations, huh? So what should the first animation be, Shannon?
How about having the hero do like walking steps anytime you're moving?
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, so I'm going to add the animation extension. So like we've seen before, you can go to this advanced section down here and click on extensions, and you'll find a load of useful extensions. Ignore all this stuff that says local, because this is, I make a lot of extensions sometimes. But anyway, so there's this one you can scroll down and find called animation. And this is made by us, and it adds a bunch of useful blocks to the program so that you can do animations. So the first block here is the one we'll use for most of the animations in this stream. And the way it works is I'm going to say I want to animate my hero with some frames. So my hero just disappeared because the frames I'm going to animate with are empty right now. So if I click on that, I go into the animation editor, which looks very similar to the sprite editor. The difference is on the right, we have this bar of frames. And it might not be obvious kind of how that's working yet, but as we add more frames, you'll see. So we can select frames from the gallery. So let's see. I think these 4 right here are a walking animation, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to select the first frame in that walking animation. And then if I hit the plus button, I get another frame, go back to the gallery, select the second frame, plus button, gallery, third frame. So you can select frames from the gallery. You can also draw them by hand, and you can switch between frames by clicking on them here. And when you're making your own animations, it can be really useful to use this duplicate button to duplicate a frame, change something small, and so on. But for now, I'm just going to pick all of the animations straight from the gallery. So click the last one here. And now I can see a little preview of my animation if I click this little play button. So that's going to loop the animation. And you can see he's walking pretty slow, or she. Don't actually know the gender of our hero. And yeah, that's maybe a little fast. What do you guys think? 200?
Sure.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, that seems good. Okay, so now we've got this animation, and you can see our character does it and then stops. So we want this animation to happen only when we're moving downward, because we will have other animations for going upwards, left, and right. Does anyone have an idea on how we can make it so this animation happens when we're going downward?
Well, in the controller, there's an on button pressed event that has all 4 directions.
Yes, indeed. So this move hero with buttons is a actually, can we use these in conjunction?
Yes.
Yeah, use them together.
Oh, I was just going to say that this wasn't going to be useful for doing animations, but it totally will. So I will move my hero with the buttons using that block, but I can do other things on the buttons using these event blocks, and they work together. So now when I go down, you can see the animation running, but the animation still stops. And that's because we need to turn looping on. So by default, animations play once, and this will make it so that the animation plays multiple times. And now you can see that the animation keeps going. And since we didn't tell the character to do anything else, the character will just keep animating like this indefinitely after we hit the down button for the first time. All right, so now we probably want the animation to stop once we're done hitting the down button. Actually, how do we do that? Do we do that in game update?
So there's 2 ways to do it, but the easiest way is in game update. So basically, 2 different ways are every controller pressed event also has a released. But the issue with that is you have to repeat the same code for every single direction, and you have to check for any other button being pressed in that, because you can press 2 buttons at the same time. The easier thing to do is in an on-game update, you can just check, is any of the buttons pressed in a giant if statement, and if they aren't.
Right.
A block for is any, right?
There is, but it also includes A and B.
You're right. Good call.
Okay. So what Richard is saying is that we want to use an on-game update loop and then have a condition, and our condition is going to be, I'm going to actually create a variable for a condition that's going to be moving. Yeah, that'll work. And this is going to be equal to if the left button is pressed, but also all of the other buttons. So I'm going to do a giant OR thing here. So this is going to get a little bit long. So we want 4 slots in our OR. So left, right, up, down. And I'm going to put all those in here. And I'm using Control C, Control V to quickly duplicate blocks. And then I'm going to switch these all to be different. Down, up, left, right. And
we have
let's grab.
philosophies about the orders of buttons.
Well, it doesn't matter in this case because or is commutative.
Yeah, I understand, but it should be up, right, down, left.
It's like if somebody said SAWD. That just doesn't feel right.
Well, I entered these backwards because well, anyway, whatever. Moving on. If we're moving, then we want to do something, and if we're not moving, well, it's the not moving that's the interesting case here. So if we're not moving, we want to go back to our default state, which is that initial frame we saw. So to do that, I'm going to just say set.
So if you go to animation,
I'm going to stop your. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Daryl.
Oh, stop all animations.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I'm going to say stop all animations on hero. See, I'm learning things all the time. Great. So now if we go down, we start walking. And if we stop going down, then we stop that animation. I do feel like it could be a little bit faster. Actually, I'm gonna make it slightly faster. I'm gonna go back to 100, even though I said that was too slow.
You could drop the player's velocity a little bit too.
That's right. Yeah. So hitting the plus button on the move with buttons lets me tweak the velocity. So let's set this to half of what it was. Okay, there we go. I think that's a little better. Now we can go to our slightly slower animation speed. Okay, great. So we got walking down. Now I'm going to do similar things for left, right, up, and what did I miss? That's all of them. Okay, while I do that, do you guys want to, I don't know, talk amongst yourselves? Because this is maybe going to be a little bit repetitive.
Sure. So one thing that we haven't really covered yet is we're doing animations in all directions, but there's also another type of animation that you often want to do when you're not moving, and that's what's called the idle animation. So sometimes games will even be clever. They'll have a little animation that the longer you wait, the more kind of complicated it gets. So, for example, if you're playing Super Mario Sunshine and you wait for a very long time, Mario will lie down and take a nap, which is fun. And I believe Sonic in the old Sonic games will look angrily at you because you're not going fast enough.
Have any idle animations in our gallery?
No, but you can achieve the same effect by just switching between 2 frames instead of 4. So you don't actually need anything complicated. Typically what I do if I'm doing a side scroller view, I just kind of make the move up and down, which makes a nice little idle. Daryl, you're using the shield.
Oh, that is the shield one. Okay, yeah. Never mind. Thanks, good save. Where does the left start?
Right there, yeah.
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, I think it's those 4.
So for our intro, we have 2 versions of the walking. We have it with the shield and without.
You don't see the shield very often in games. I think it's underutilized.
Yeah. You do in Zelda. Usually.
Oh, no, in games on MakeCode specifically.
Oh, true. Yes.
Maybe we'll get to that. We'll see.
Yeah, we should make the shield do something.
Yeah, block bullets or arrows or something. Tomatoes.
Shielding is the aspect of Smash I am worst at.
What? Oh yeah.
Very hard.
You just forget it's there, and then.
Isn't it overloaded with grabbing?
Yeah, but no one uses grabbing.
What?
What?
Really?
Great.
Maybe that's why I'm bad at Smash.
We're all bad at Smash.
All right, let me pause the banter for a moment. Check out our hero. Look at this. Wait, what do I do? Okay, so I can go right, I can go up, I can go left, I can go down. So one thing I noticed, it's a little slow in switching which animation to do. I think we can fix that by calling stop all animations right before calling animate. What do you guys think?
I think that's correct. Yes.
Okay. So let me see if I can just clarify the issue. So I'm going right, and then I hit down, and I started moving down, but I didn't show the downward animation. And this is maybe a little weird. Here you can see that it's like not really lining up with the movement. And that's because by default, animations queue. That's right? Like if an animation is in process, we won't interrupt it immediately when you trigger a new animation.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And okay, so if I just explicitly say stop everything else, this is really important, then I think the right thing will happen. So let's try this. Stop. It's actually been a while since I've done character animations like this. Actually, that's a lie. I've never done them. So.
Well, Cat Jumper has.
Yeah, Cat Jumper actually has kind of special animations that are all based. It's not actually animations; it's just different frames based on its velocity. So actually, this is still got a little bit of delay between switching. But you know, I think that's okay. So I think we'll just move on with other types of animations. Unless, do any of you have more ideas about what to do here?
So I think what you're actually seeing is that if you hold two buttons at the same time, the last one will take precedence, even if you release it in the meantime. So if you press up and right at the same time and then release right, you'll still, like if you press up and then right, no, use your keys on your keyboard. You're not gonna be able to do this in Sim.
Yeah.
Press up and right and then release up.
Yeah, so I think I get what you're saying, but if I'm still reproducing the issue, even if I use the simulator only, like I know that I'm not overlapping keys.
That sounds like just a bug.
Yeah, it looks like it's just taking a little bit of time to start up the animation, even from resting.
It's probably a bug.
Okay. All right, so we'll leave that. Actually, I'm going to take these out because they didn't seem to do anything, and it's better to just not have code that you don't know or that doesn't contribute usefully.
Yeah,
what's that?
I said strongly disagree.
Do you want those back?
No. It's all of my blocks programs though have some island of dead code that I didn't end up using, but thought was too useful to delete.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it was pretty easy to get out, so I'll leave it. Anyway, so we'll investigate offline, off stream, see if we can make that snappier. But for now, you know, this is still, I think, a pretty good set of animations for moving around. Feels a lot more dynamic than just like the single image that we often see in our streams and in our games. And even though the animations can take a little bit longer to set up, it's quite a nice effect. Okay, so there's a bunch more animations we could make. So we could do things with swords, we could do things with shields, jumping probably. What do you guys think? What should we do next?
I like the sword ones personally.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's do swords. Because then I think we might actually be able to make a game out of this. You know, some sort of attack animation. Maybe we fight some things. Okay, so I'm going to do similar to how I did these ones. I'm just going to do an animation on a button pressed. And yeah, again, this is going to be repetitive, so feel free to talk while I pick out a sword animation.
Well,
okay, actually,
yeah.
I might need you guys to help me pick out sword animation. So this is attacking down.
Yes.
Attacking left, attacking right.
And there's no up.
There's no up. Sounds good. So actually what I need to do is be able to distinguish which direction I'm facing and then choose the right animation. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so this is going to be an if-else statement where we're going to have 4 branches for the 4 directions. And I'm going to copy paste these blocks to get these directions in. So what's going to happen here is when the A button is pressed, we trigger this event, but then within the event, we want to see if another button is also pressed to figure out which direction we're sort of facing.
We need the state for this probably, right?
We need
Because we want to know the last, like the direction we're facing, which is going to be the last direction that we walked in, right?
Yeah. So probably the easiest thing to do would be to set a variable inside of the on button pressed, and then the last one that ran is the current animation that's showing, so it should always be right.
Yeah, we could do this based on velocity too, but I like the on any button pressed.
If we do velocity, we won't know the last one, so we won't know where we're facing when we are stopped.
If you stop moving, swing your sword, velocity won't work. Same with the is button pressed, won't work.
Right. Well, yeah, I was thinking if you had a non-zero velocity, we set the last direction. But yeah, this works. Okay, so I think I will save a direction that's going to be one of 4 values. So I'm going to say last direction, and let me add a comment here. So does anyone remember? So it's probably going to be.
So I always do up, right, down, left.
Up,
wait, seriously?
It's clockwise.
Left. Yeah, if we got really clever, these values are integers, right? We could probably just take one of these.
They are not
integers. Okay. Fair enough. All right, so we'll do this kind of how we've done in streams before. I'm going to symbolically remember which direction corresponds to a certain number. So we've got.
So what do you think the right way should be, Shannon?
I think it's either this or up, down, left, right. Personally, I don't really have an opinion between the two.
Oh, what I think the right order is? You start from left.
So you start from left. You start from east or west.
Left is the first one. It's the first one in the list.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to pick favorites, so I'm going to start from the right.
Okay. I wouldn't do it the way you're doing it, though, Daryl.
Yeah.
Reason why is I think this is going to end up being a bug. You can just use the existing button pressed handlers and just set the variable in there instead of doing this if statement.
Sure. Yeah.
Because if you set it at the same time as the animation, you're guaranteed that it'll always look right to the player because the animation will be the one that you're facing.
Yeah, sounds right. Okay, let's do this. It's a good thing I have you guys on the stream to stop me from writing dumb code.
It's not dumb code, it's just a different code.
Yeah, but it is nice because I don't like writing giant if statements if I don't have to. And we already have all these cases broken out for us, so it's good to reuse those. Okay, great. Now we know our last direction. And then based on the last direction, I'm going to have a giant if statement. Okay, so I can say if the last direction is 0, which is up, or if it's going to be 1 or 2. And then the last case will just kind of be handled for us, and I'm just going to assume we're never going to have an invalid input there. Okay, so let me do the up case real quick. So if last direction is up, then I'm going to, actually in this case, we don't have anything to do because we don't have an up attack animation. And so instead, we'll just keep seeing the up movement animation, which will be as close as we can get, I think.
Yeah, we can fix that in a second, which I think is going to let us cover another piece of the pie, which is flipping animations when you only have one direction.
Right. Okay, great. So let me add the frames for attacking right. So that looks like this one.
Let's see. We will probably have to think about this one pretty carefully because we noticed the size is 1.5 times as big in each direction.
Yes. Let's just see what happens and then go with that. Okay, so now if I'm moving right and I hit A, you can see our character, some weird things happen. Okay, so we swing the sword We probably shouldn't loop actually. So click A, we swing the sword once, and then I'm actually, let's see. So why isn't it going back to the old animation? Should it? Sorry, what's that?
Your last frame should be the facing right, because it stays on the last frame.
Well, except that I still want to see the dynamic moving also when I'm moving right, don't I?
If you walked right again, it would trigger the dynamic. But if you stay still and swing, it should just loop back to standing still on right.
Yeah, but what he's saying is if he's walking and then he swings, it should keep walking.
Yeah, so here I would expect walking.
I thought it was implemented that way.
I think it's a function time.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. What do we want to do? So
I think we could do a function that says just like go back to the last one that makes sense based off of the current velocity or something maybe. And then we could also fix that in on a released. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what I would do is we're setting this last direction in each of the button pressed. So what if we just took this last direction if statement that you already have, put it into a function, and then moved the animation blocks into that, so we could just call it again, and then we just call it in each of the button handlers.
Yeah. Right. And so swinging the sword then would be how do we know how to swing the sword?
The same way we're doing it now. The only thing that I'm not sure how to do is figuring out when the animation has finished so that we can do it again.
So would this work if I say repeat, or is that going to override the swinging animation? It's probably going to override the swinging.
It won't trigger for at least, I think, half a second too. And then it will trigger once every 30 milliseconds. So it's probably not going to work properly.
Gotcha. Yeah, it seems to be behaving not quite right.
Maybe a full second.
Yeah, so it's what Joey was saying. You need to hold it for a bit before that event starts triggering.
I don't think we handle
triggered though. Yeah.
I don't think we handle reapplying the animation either though.
Yeah.
So I think it's just keeping on trying to apply the new animation every 30 milliseconds and then stalling out. Like ideally we should be able to check and say, oh, we're going to start the same animation again. We should probably just ignore that, but that's just not how it's implemented right now.
Right. Okay, so let's get started with the function, and then I think we'll sort of work our way through what needs to happen. So I'm going to say, what do I call it? So animate character, animate.
Or how about set walk frames or something? Walk something.
Yeah.
Walk somewhere.
Do
we want separate?
Walk, exclamation point.
We can actually have exclamation points, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, might as well use that. It's fun. I don't get to use exclamation points in my variables or function names very often.
Makes your games happier.
So I'm just gonna put that frame up there because I want to reuse the fact that I did that. Okay, so what did I say? Up is the first one, right, and
I think you only want the animate. You don't want the set.
So you'll set last direction and then call this function after you set it.
Yes. Yeah. I'll move those back. Let's put. Oh shoot! Yeah, I should have grabbed them. Okay, what goes where? So 0 on up, and then 1 on right, 2 on down. I think that's correct. Okay. So now we have this function that can do the walking, and then we can just call that function to get kind of back to where we were. And let me just make sure everything kind of works. Okay. And now after, so the tricky thing again is with swinging a sword. So if I just call walk after this, what's going to happen? That's going to override it, won't it? Yeah, it does.
So I think you have to do our usual trick of setting the lifespan.
For a timer, basically.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I don't think this is a good idea, but I'm curious. Would a pause here work here? I don't remember if the A events run asynchronously. I don't know if that's a good idea.
So pause will work in that it won't break your program, but it will cause all of the A's to be queued. So if you press A multiple times, they will execute in series. So it's not what you want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
A thing I saw someone on the forums do actually is that instead of setting the lifespan on our player, they created a timer sprite, set the lifespan on that, and on timer sprite destroyed, they stopped all animations and called like a resume.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, man, if only there was an extension about timers. Recently, I've been thinking about maybe doing an extension for timers, but we're not going to use that now because there's still a bunch of things to work out. Okay, so let me. I'm going to make a function that's going to be create timer, and it's going to take a number that is the milliseconds. This is maybe a little too general, but let's try it. So let's create a timer sprite. And we're going to do a new kind. It's going to be called timer, and it's going to be invisible. And in fact, I want to set a certain property on it of timer that is ghost on. So it doesn't interact with any of our physics, doesn't slow down our game at all. So ghost says, don't collide with anything. Okay, so we got this special sprite, and this sprite represents a timer. And what the way we do timers in Arcade, or one way to do them that we found kind of convenient right now, is by setting the lifespan property of a sprite. So we've talked about this a few times in the stream, but I'll try and reiterate. So sprites have a lot of properties like velocity, things we're used to, but there's also this property called lifespan. And the lifespan property says once that's set, and that amount of time has elapsed, then the sprite will automatically be destroyed. And the way this turns into a timer is we have this event here in the lifecycle section that's on destroyed. So on destroyed of kind timer, we can run some code. So we could use the sprite data extension to distinguish which timer we're using here. But in this case, I think we just have kind of one thing we want to do right now, which is stop all animations on the hero. So what I'm going to do is, okay,
you
so
also
let me
want
think.
to call walk.
And then yes, call walk. So when the timer sprite is destroyed, we stop everything, we call walk. So I'm going to say, call create timer, and I think the duration here is going to be 400 because we have 4 frames each at 100 millisecond delay, or is it going to be 300?
I think it's
only be okay 400.
It's
so
at 400. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So on A button press, we do our swing animation. We still have to figure out the sizing thing. We haven't solved that quite yet, but anyway, then we create this little timer sprite. And when that elapses, we'll stop that animation and call walk. So attack and then back to walking. So you notice our camera is doing something weird, which we'll get to in a second. But it does look like we're sort of attacking here. Nice. Actually, I think the attack animation could be a little faster, huh?
Sure. I also think the frames are reversed.
That's entirely possible. Let's see. So first I got my little slightly faster attack. Okay, so let's look at these frames. So what do we want first?
It's like right now you're digging up at the enemy. You're swinging down at the enemy.
Yeah, okay, so I can grab and rearrange these. Handy time to show off the awesome things you can do in the animation editor. And actually, let me just see that this looks right. Maybe that's a little fast. Let me see what 100 looked like again. Yeah, I'll go back to 100. I think that was reasonable. Okay. Attack.
Perfect.
All right. Cool. Okay, so now we're having something weird with our camera. Notice how it sort of jerks to the side when we're doing the swinging. So what's going on here is that the frames of this animation are 24 by 24 versus most of the time our hero is 16 by 16. And you can see these coordinate D sizes down here in the left. And 16 by 16 is also the standard tile size. So you'll see that I take up exactly one little tile. And then when I'm swinging, I'm taking up a little bit more. So the camera centering code is moving it to the center of the 24 by 24.
Can you use the marquee to drag the guy?
So there's an easy way to fix this, which is based off the direction in that if statement you have, you set the left to be the left that it was before. So,
yeah. So we can do that. Is that going to solve everything? Isn't...
You have to do it for each direction at least, but that's not a big deal.
Yeah,
so
let's try it. Let's see how far we get.
Still probably.
The camera's still going to jerk a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you change out the sprite, what should be happening is that it will maintain the same XY position, so the same position on the center of the sprite. So I believe we have to reposition both corners, but we'll see.
Yes.
Actually, so it's not the walk animations that are the problem, right? It's this the swing animation. So is it enough if I set the left here in the walk animations?
Well, do you want to know how I normally do swinging sword animations?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I've written a few of these in MakeCode. And typically I use 2 sprites because it's the easier way to do it. What I generally do is you have the sword as a separate sprite, and it's just always present, and you make it visible when the sword is swinging. So that has some benefits where you can make it so that you can't swing your sword in one direction and then hit them with the back of your sprite. And it also makes it easier to do this thing because then the sword is not tied to the camera. So if you want, we could switch to that method.
Yeah. That sounds good. We have 20 minutes. I think we have enough time. I'm not quite sure. I don't have a clear picture in my head how to make this work, so I might need to think about that off stream. So let's try the separate sprite. Okay. So in onStart, I'm going to create another sprite. Oops. That is going to be called sword. And this probably going to need my own kind for this. And I'm not going to fill in anything for it now because I'm going to have animation frames for the 4 directions of the sword. Actually, do I need animation frames, or can I just... So the other way I could try get the sword, moving is just by using like a velocity or something. Do you have thoughts, Richard? Do you use animation frames, or do you?
I typically do animation frames. I think that would make the sword look like a karate chop, which I mean is something. But
yeah, we don't really have a windshield wiper type motion that's easy to code up, as far as I know. Cool. Okay, we'll use animations. So let's, I'm going to set this timer code to the side. Like Richard said, it's often useful to have a small island of dead code that you might come back to. And I actually kind of like this little timer thing. Anyway, so where are we at? instead of animating the hero, and because I like to keep code around, is it gonna work if I copy paste this? Let's just get a fresh animation block. I'm keeping this old animation around because I spent the time to pick out the frame, so I don't really want to throw it away. Oh, by the way, small little feature. If you hover over, I don't know if this is obvious to the viewers, if you hover your mouse over the frames, you'll see the animation playing, which is, I think, just a super nifty little feature. Can be useful when it's kind of ambiguous at what animation is going on. Anyway, so the sword, let's do the right swing. And just preemptively, I'm going to change a few of these properties. Okay, sword swing. I'm not going to be very good at a sword, so I think I'm just going to do a stick.
Yeah, use the line tool, and then you want to imagine a circle, and then do like up, diagonal, and then down. And imagine the circle is where the player is.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. So if the player is sort of in the middle here.
Oh, no. Pretend the player's on the left, but pretend the player is a circle, if that makes sense. So you want the swing to start up, go out a bit, and then come down.
Let's see if this makes sense. Is this what you had in mind?
Yeah, basically, but you probably want to trim the extra pixels on the left.
Extra pixels on the left. Oh, you just push it all the way up against this edge here, you're saying?
Yes, otherwise it's going to make the placing of well, okay, so not exactly. Sorry, I should have prepared some sprites for this beforehand, but
no, it's
basically keep it like you have right now, but remove the extra. So the one that's in the middle should be coming a little bit off the side. They should not all be going to a central point. Otherwise, it looks really unnatural. So keep that frame like you have it right now. Go to the last frame. Okay, and then do it. Yep, again, a little bit off from the side. So that's good. And then you want to get rid of all of the transparency. So get rid of everything onto the left, but leave it as is. So they don't all start from the same point. It's like you're swinging the sword from up to the middle to down, and it has a kind of realistic motion.
Yeah, so I'm trying to picture exactly your
view.
Yes, you're all good. Just remove one pixel from the left, make it 15 by 16 instead of 16 by 16.
Okay, can do that. All of the frames?
Yep, you can't have different sized frames.
Yeah. And so you said remove it from the left, so you want everything shifted.
Yeah.
Okay. It's tricky to figure out someone else's vision live sometimes. Okay, and then shift this over.
See, one other thing that can be useful in here is if you click the onion skin mode in the bottom left, right next to the size.
Oh yeah, this is a great little feature of the animation editor.
And that will show what an overlay of what the previous frame looked like, so you can compare it and draw your own next to it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
cool.
you've got it right now. It's just so what I was trying to convey is you don't want to have extra white space on the side because we're going to be setting it so that the left of the sprite is the same as the right of the player. And if you had transparency there, it would be separated from the player. So trimming off that extra transparency makes the size calculations much easier, but don't go all the way up to the right because it looks natural with the swing right now. So if they were all starting from the right, it would look weird. But you have to imagine the player's arm is cutting out in a circular motion.
Oh, I think okay.
No.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'll leave it more or less like this, but let me add maybe a couple. I don't know if this is going to look good. I'm trying to go for like movement streaks.
Oh, swoosh. Yeah.
Sort of like swoosh. And the last one is kind of the most intense.
I think that's good right there.
Yeah, I don't know if that looks good or not, but we're going to try it. Okay, so Now we're going to animate the sword. And so you see the sword is swinging kind of on its own. So yes, what we want is for the sword to be kind of attached to the player. So I could do on game update, always set the left of the sword to the right of the player. Is there anything more elegant?
That's typically how I do it. I think it's pretty elegant because you don't have to. You're going to have to do it in on game update no matter what, because the player can move while they're swinging the sword. So.
Right. So this is going to work for the right swing. I'm going to have to change this around for the left swing, but let's see. Okay, so the right is aligned, but I did not do anything with the Y, so we need to do that as well. So I think in this case, we can just set the X's to each other. So the X's, or sorry, the Y's, because those are the middles of the sprites. So yeah, so now I have this sword animation going. I think I want the last frame to be transparent, don't I?
Yep.
Okay. And that should get rid of the sword when we're done swinging. So now I've got a little swing.
Let's see. It'll probably do some weird things with the walls right now, but that's fine for now.
Yes. Let's see. Do I want to make it ghost? No, because I want to do checking collisions.
I think we do actually need like a separate no hitting walls from ghost, but that's another thing for later on.
Right.
Yeah. So typically how I do it is I have two sprites. I have the actual hitbox one, and then I have the display one, which is a ghost.
Yeah.
It sounds complicated. Nice. The code ends up being pretty elegant. I've written it like 10 times for various games.
All right. Well, we'll run out of time soon, so it might be that Richard ends up finishing this. Okay, so let's see if we can get another direction going. So I've got swing to the right. Now, my thought is actually, so should I get another direction going, or should I do hitting enemies? What do you guys think?
Well, we've been mostly animation focused so far, so maybe we should just finish that up.
Yeah.
I mean, hitting enemies is just going to be an overlap event, right?
Yeah, overlap, unless we get into a fancy, sprite, for the hitbox. Okay, so swinging to the right, and now let's do. So I'll just do two directions right now. I'm going to do swinging right or swinging left, or so I have my handy variable that tells me the last direction. So I will say swinging right is going to be this one. And then I'm just going to use an else for all other cases, and I will make this a proper four-way if eventually. But let's just get the other direction going right now. So let me see. I think the easiest thing is I am just going to redraw this. Yeah, let me just think about what I drew. Okay, so starts a little bit out, farther out, all the way in, most swoosh. Okay, let's delete these. I'm gonna want 4 frames. They're all gonna be somewhat different. I am gonna turn on onion skinning so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use the line tool. I'm gonna start kind of up, and then I'm going to go a little bit farther out. Okay, I had something like that before. And then kind of ends inward. And let's add those swooshes. Actually, let's see how that looks real quick. That seems reasonable. That's a swoosh, a little bit less swoosh, and no swoosh. Okay.
Yeah, I would say that's an even better swoosh than last time.
Getting better. All right, so now when we use the A button going this way, we get that animation. Otherwise, we get the sword chasing the player, which is kind of fun. So what we want to do here is change this code a little bit based on these directions as well. So actually, I'm going to copy this big if statement that I know I'm going to want. And I'm going to remove these animations blocks here. So I'm just getting kind of the skeleton of this if statement. All right. And okay, so this was the case for the left. The left is 1. No, sorry, I did right, and I'm going to move these blocks into 1 for the right, and the left is going to be, so actually I think I always want, no, I don't always want that, because up, down, it's going to be different. So I'm going to do each case kind of individually. Okay, so 1, where's my handy comment? So 1 is right, and 3, not 2, good thing I checked that, is left. And in this case, I want to set the right of the sword to the left of the player, and the Y stays in the middle. Okay, so going like that, and attacking that direction. Woo, okay. Let me see if I can just really quickly do the rest of these animations. So I'm going to do the same weird thing I did, where I take kind of the skeleton of the if statement, and I'm going to, so this was for, let's see, the right and left. Go like that, I'm pretty sure. Don't need this anymore. Okay, so gonna do some busy work. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves.
I'm thinking about it now, and I think in the future we should just use strings for our magic values instead of numbers. That's just a lot easier.
Yeah, it would be easier.
We already have the string equals. It's not, that doesn't make it any harder.
Yep.
That's the reason I always do it in the same order, the northeast, southwest, clockwise, so that I can remember the values.
Yeah, I mean, we have used the flags for other things though. Non-directional things, right? Maybe that's not true.
We've used it for types of things, I'm pretty sure, like the rock, algae, ice.
Oh, I really like how that one just turned out.
Yeah, I'll have to think about why it's a blue stick. Maybe it's a lightsaber, although that's probably how I read it.
Yeah, I think we owe George Lucas some money now. Just words.
We whispered the word on stream.
You can probably have all the ad revenue we get.
You're allowed to do it if you say it's a parody.
That's true.
Joy was making a joke, by the way. We don't have ads.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh. I was thinking that was obvious because of the fact that it's on Mixer and nobody's getting ads, but now that, it's probably good to mention.
Yeah, there are no ads on MakeCode. We know that's a concern. We don't track users, and we don't, do all of that stuff. If you go to makecode.com/telemetry, I think we have a list of all of the data that we collect.
Okay, yeah, so swords are doing weird things because I need to finish out this. So this just takes, kind of thinking about each case and what do I want to happen. So in the upward direction, I want to set the bottom of the sword to the top of the player. And I want to set the X's to align. Where's X?
Up.
There we go. And I know for the down, I also want the X's to align, and I'm just going to want the flip of what I did here. And let's see if I got that all right. Okay, so attack up, attack down, attack right, attack left, up.
Yeah.
Nice. So one thing I notice is if I switch, I'm attacking up and then I switch down quickly, it'll finish the attacking up. So let me think about that. That's probably fine.
Yeah,
I don't think that's fixable with the current animations, at least.
Wait, can you do it again? But it moves the position, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
so
So that doesn't look too bad.
Well, yeah, except that it looks like you're running into a sword now.
Try left
But-
or right.
So what you should be doing is while the sword is swinging, you need to lock the direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think the
Okay.
only,
Well, we
You
can
know,
leave that as an exercise to the viewer. Oops. There we go. All right. So we've got some good animations here. We got some nice walking. We've got some text with the hover saber. And yeah, we have just a couple of minutes left. Anything else on your guys' minds?
no, so I'll mention again. So this works great, except if you go to the edge of the tile map, go to the edge of the tile map, Dale, and swing the sword. Sorry.
I feel like it's working.
You want to face the tile map and then swing it. And oh yeah, you set it to be a ghost. So
Oh, yeah. So if I unset this to be, wait, no, I never set it to be a ghost. I don't think.
What's happening?
Yeah.
It's starting off the screen. So if you're away from the tile map and while it's running, you move left, it will break.
So let me add some walls here that we can play around with. Say with this, and if I go here,
Yeah, you want to walk
I
into
picked
it.
the worst color.
The sword comes.
So move away from the wall and then start it in the direction, and it will get stuck as it's moving into the wall.
Is that true? I feel like
I
this
don't
is
think it
actually.
will actually though, because we're setting the position every frame. I think this works fine.
We're overriding
Setting
the
the-
physics. We're just
Because we set the
forcing.
position every time, and so
That shouldn't be true, but it looks like it is. I'll look at that later. Because when we do a tiny adjustment so that we still account for the physics, because
They have
people like to do the moving with right and stuff.
From the wall.
What's that?
Stand half a tile away from the wall.
I think this works fine. Yeah. This seems good. Finally, something worked out a little bit better than expected. Sweet. So I'm pretty happy with this as a start, and maybe we'll pick this up later and add some more stuff to our adventure game. In the meantime, we need to come up with a name. What do you guys think? Something with our dual stick.
beam swords.
Wait, sorry, say that again.
Anachronistic beam swords.
Oh, geez, I'm not gonna be able to spell that.
It's spelled like you hear it.
I like it.
There's a CH.
Oh man, this is gonna be embarrassing. Okay.
I'll spell it. ANACHRISTIC.
Yeah.
CHRI.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
NISTIC.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Beam sword. Yeah. What does anachronistic mean?
It means
Or-
something that shouldn't be in a certain period of time. So if you were writing a detective novel that was set in the 1800s and someone looks at a TV, that would be an anachronism.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would say this is definitely a good example of that. Cool. All right. I like it. We'll share this on the forum. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I am Daryl at Darzoo on the forum.
I'm Joey at J1Drill on the forum.
I'm Shannon at Shakao on the forum.
And I'm Richard at Richard on the forum.
Sweet. All right.